Hi, so I'm doing another vlog on another dimension that I walked in the next blog, which was day 252. Still looking at the vengeful character, and I walked some self-forgiveness on this abusive tendency that I go into in my living, and leading to physical violence. I don't accept and allow physical violence any longer. I used to when I was younger as a kid with siblings, and so I'm looking at the pattern that accumulates to this eventual outburst of physical violence. So another dimension that I've noticed within how this accumulates is within myself. I'm not resolving issues in the physical. I'm not going to, if someone comes, in this instance I was looking at someone taking something of mine, and me taking that personally, like they did that to spite me, and they just did it because they didn't respect my stuff and didn't respect that it was mine, and just took it because they see me as a fool or whatever, like taking it personally, like offended by them taking it. So it's this point of, instead of going to the person, speaking about the situation, directing it within the physical, I go into my mind, and then I look at the situation and I go into fear because I fear conflict. I fear going and facing that other person, and having to walk through the point with the other, because I fear it. I fear doing that. So instead of taking responsibility for myself, taking responsibility for my reactions as taking things personally, and not going and directing the point with the other person in the physical, in reality, to come to a solution in the physical, in reality, I go into my mind, and then I fight with them in my mind. So it's like a internal imagination conflict that I go into, and it can get violent, and it's fueled on anger as well. And I mean, more in a harsher cases, like the anger in my mind and yelling at people and beating them up in my mind is more like when people embarrass me or have embarrassed me. This taking of my things is more let's say a easier point, like it's not so, doesn't feel so much anger, but like something like someone embarrassing me in front of others or something would be a point where I go into my mind and really be angry and yelling at them in my mind and beating them up, and the fantasy crazy things that can go on in your imagination towards others that have made you mad or angry. So you come to reality and you come to face this person eventually, and you kind of within yourself superiorize yourself against, well, this is how I do it, superiorize myself to this person because I was offended by them. I took things personally, so within that interaction, within that mind taking it personally, I inferiorized myself and saw myself as weak and less than this person. And so to get back and make myself feel better, I go into my mind, I do the beating up, I do the yelling at them, I'm degrading them. They're so stupid, they don't know what they're talking about. Look at them, look at how they dress, look at, they're so, they don't know how to dress, they're not looking right, or making all these comments and observations and picking them apart. to, compare him with myself and make me more, make me better, so I can feel better about myself and I can feel superior to that person. And, then you go into the physical and you can't compete with that, the physical reality of actually having to face a person and speak to the person. So again, I go into suppression, and again, I go into my head, battling them out, fighting with them, making myself feel better again. But really, in reality, where real life is happening, I have compromised myself and I've made myself weaker because I'm not dealing with things in the physical in reality, but only in my head. And it's not making any difference in the communication in the situation that's going on in the physical. And it just compromises my living. I become suppressed within myself. Eventually, like, I became really inferior, feeling inferior to people and fearing people and fearing communication with people. And as you go into your mind and accumulate imaginations and fantasies and such, you're also fueling the mind, and the mind takes that and runs with it and creates networks. And you can see as you participate in like making yourself, as you live your life and you become inferior within yourself, seeing yourself more inferior to people, you can see how that grows over time and how you feel less and less and less stable in reality, because the whole time you're in your head, feeling inferior, seeing yourself inferior in reality, and then trying to make yourself feel better. So you are beating people up in your mind and, having all these abnormal relationships and, thinking processes in your head about other people when, all it does is make you like lost and screwed up, kind of. So the point here is to bring it back to the physical, write the patterns out through the writing, through the self-forgiveness. I'm going to place some links on here so you can check out what self-forgiveness is. If you don't know Desteni, there's a free course that you can look at and participate in, where it's like the beginning stages and the basics of the writing process that we are walking here. To see yourself, how you live, and then go to writing, correct points within the tools that they give, and then you live it out and you kind of change as you correct yourself within the realizations you've realized through the writing. So it's a cool process to walk and help yourself become more stable and change yourself in reality. So, this is what I've been doing, seeing that obviously going to my mind and beating people up eventually will cause abuse in my world, because this builds up in your mind, and then eventually you live it out because that's all you've been thinking about, and what you think about you're gonna live out. And so you kind of correct those points. You correct the inferior point, seeing yourself less than people, practicing stopping the thoughts, stopping going into those thought patterns of the fighting and the superior inferior polarity that you're playing on in your mind. See yourself as equal to others, communicate in the physical with others, walk solutions, practice, communicating and finding solutions with other people, directing your communication with others to be effective, and learn how to be with other people. And so, it all takes practice, it all takes time, it all takes some self-discipline and will to walk it, but you become stable within yourself and you learn a lot about yourself and you change, and it's very cool because it helps you in your living, helps you in work, helps you every area of your life. The more self-confident you are, the more stable you are, the more understanding of yourself and how you work, you can bring that into your living, into your work, in your job, and dealing with people and being with people. It makes it more enjoyable and more comfortable. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next one. Bye.